Hello YouTube, this video is brought to you with amazing Bunnyvision. This is, I'm just showing you this device I made, which I introduced in a video a few days ago, which is it's a pair of mirrors set on this rabbit head frame to allow me to experience binocular vision. So now I'm looking at you through my left eye. I'm looking directly into the lens. Let me get a bit closer up. Through my left eye, and now through my right eye. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about the history of this thing, and also a little bit about what it's like to wear it. It's great, actually. It's really interesting. This is one of a number of devices I've made. I haven't made anything like this for years, actually. But about 10 years ago, I made something a little bit similar to this. I was reading Herman Melville's Moby Dick, and there's a bit in Moby Dick where he talks about the front of a whale. He says the front of a whale's head is a blind blank wall, he says, and all is darkness in the front. And then he goes on to talk, well, it doesn't say much else really, but in one of Dan Dennett's essays, the philosopher Dan Dennett, he talks about that passage and about binocular vision, and about how, well, he just speculates on what it's like to be a whale really, and he suggests that, because we've got binocular vision, eyes in the front of our heads, and the images from our right and our left eye are processed separately by different parts of the brain, by the software in our brain, and resolved into that thing we call depth perception. And obviously whales can't do that because they don't have this parallax that we've got, so they do something else. And what Dan Dennett suggests is that whales, when they make this movement like this, so apparently whales move like this, he says what they might be doing is they might be gathering information from their right and left field and then processing it later into something like depth perception. But it's not happening instantly the way that our depth perception works. It happens sequentially over time. Right eye, left eye, right eye, left eye. I don't know if that's true or not. I just thought it was interesting, so I made this I made a device a bit like this. It was more like a VR helmet. I think I've still got it in the loft at home. So when I get back to Cheshire, I'll see if I can root it out and show it to you. But it was a big cardboard box, basically, with mirrors set in the side. And now I've made this one because it's more like rabbit vision, because rabbits have a slightly different process. Rabbits' brains are much more separate than human brains. If you train a rabbit, you offer it conditioning or something like that, to train a rabbit, and during that training process you kind of shut down, like you only train the right side of the brain, and it's possible to do that with rabbits, then the left side of the brain won't remember. They operate quite separately, which is different to whales and different to humans, obviously. I mean, the reason why I thought that was interesting in terms of VR, virtual reality, in fact I did a couple of conference papers about it called Virtual Reality for Whales, is because it seems to me that virtual reality, as traditionally understood, like the VR machines used to have at the Trocadero, they're all about kind of reproducing the human sensorium in virtual form. You know what I mean? Just reproduce what it's like to be alive with the senses we've got in the bodies that we've got. And I just thought, wouldn't it be more interesting to reproduce a different kind of sensorium with different kinds of sensors and make a different kind of sense? So that's what I thought I'd do with that. And now that's what I'm trying to do with this. Okay, just some stuff about what it's like to wear this thing. There's some other stuff I'll talk about at a different time, actually. Some other optical experiments I've heard about and done myself. But some stuff about wearing it. I haven't worn this one for very long, mainly because it's too easy to cheat. I can't look down the size of this one if I chose to, and probably would find that irresistible. But the other one I made, the VR one, the big boxy one, you couldn't see out the sides. And I did try wearing that for long periods of time, like 6 or 8 hours to stretch. What I found there is you never get used to it. You never get used to it. There are glasses you can wear which invert your vision, just turn everything upside down, and you get used to those very, very quickly. But at least from my experience, you can't get used to this. Really, it's just too fucking weird. Actually, I don't know if you've noticed this. I've got a false tooth at the front. Look, I forgot to put it in this morning. Look. Fuck. Should have thought of that before I started this video. Oh well. Okay, so you don't get used to it. What I also found is that if you wear it for a long period of time, you get very, very nauseous. Because what you can't see that's happening here is that when I'm moving my head, the whole world is kind of revolving along two axes. The world does not stay stable when you're like this, it revolves around two axes. So it's constantly in conflict. It makes you feel a bit seasick after a while. There are some other interesting things about it. Firstly, what doesn't happen, which obviously does happen with binocular vision and maybe happens to real whales and rabbits, is you never get this fusing of the image. At least I've never had this. You never, because what I'm seeing now is two images overlaid on top of one another. Yeah, I'm seeing what's here, and I'm seeing what's here overlaid on top of one another here. But what I never get is a fusing of those things. I always get what's called binocular rivalry, which means that my eyes seem to prioritise one or other scene, and I can change it by an act of will. You know, I can attend to what's happening here. I can attend to that door there and that door handle, or I can attend to what's happening here. Actually, there's another door there and another door handle just there. But I can make those kind of attentive choices. I can attend to that picture on the wall there and that television set, or I can attend to what's happening here with this lamp and this computer down here. So, but it's not. It doesn't merge, as I say. It just doesn't. It never fuses. It's always separate and in motion. One or two funny things about that. If I do this, I don't know if you can catch this. I've got my fingers out, stretched to the side. If I put my fingers in just the right place, so that the left one matches where the right one is, it takes a bit of fiddling about. Bring it a bit closer. There. If I do it just right, what's happened now is that my right and left finger have kind of fused, and I'm getting a kind of fake three-dimensional image of my finger in front of me. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like my brain has taken that right and left image of completely different fingers and worked its software processing magic on them to create a three-dimensional, apparently three-dimensional image of a single finger in front of me. So that's a bit weird. When I made my previous one, this one 10 years ago, this VR one, I had a relatively unique experience because I've got twins. I've got twin lads who are 17 now, but obviously they were about 7 or 8 then. And when I made that one, I got them to stand at opposite sides of me there, and I got a single image of my fused child standing there, which is very weird, because obviously they're twins, they look alike. It's a bit like a kind of Pepper's Ghost phenomenon, if you're familiar with Pepper's Ghost. Anyway, and I put rabbit ears on this one, because it's a bunny rabbit with only one tooth. What's up, duck? Anyway, that's that. I'll make a few videos about this because it's funny. It's just funny.